Just looks happy to make the play against the spin. And he's able to really good manipulator of the ball. Kane Williamson.
And it's been amazing in the tournament so far. The first 7 games, 7 completed games, I would say. We had 11 hundreds. We've had a few washouts. No centuries in the last 5. Including this one. And this one still has some way to go. The centuries were churned out in the first 7 games. Things have become a little bit more challenging.
I think also tactics-wise, I think Bavuma has to go to an over or 2 from Aiden Markram. I think he has to have a look. Might be also that he shares the spell of the 10 overs for the 5th bowler. But there seems to be a little bit more control with Maharaj, maybe a little bit more difficult to get away. So I think maybe just an over or 2. Just have a look what Aiden Markram can deliver. Nodding his head in the green with me.
Blow your own trumpet, why don't you, Sean Pollock?
Nobody else will blow it.
One, 2, 7 for 1. New Zealand will be hoping that with this platform they have the chance to accelerate over the course of the second half of this innings. 9 wickets in hand. Sean Pollock is called for Markram and Markram is in.
And fair dues too with Maharaj going so well, and they're unable to get him away. Toss one up, got driven for 4, but gone for 14 from the 4 overs. So with left-right combination, you'd hope that Markram can probably present some danger to the lefty. You're absolutely right, because the lefty is the one playing.
Whose times are that in this tournament so far?
Just a dot or 2, I think. That's it. Too greedy from Markram, and a dot or 2 is enough to create some sort of pressure. Critically, he can't leave the stumps. And his first couple to Rachin Ravindra have already kind of drawn out a frustration because he's not been able to work one. Ready, wherever you are in the field. Long on, long off. Be ready for the big shot.
Yeah, Williamson keeps going down. Maybe just to... Well, Ravindra, just to say, just stay calm. Doesn't matter that there's 2 or 3 dot deliveries together. We'll make that up a little bit later. You just keep going on your merry way. You've played so well. Don't get lured on stage.
Just 3 of the over, 130 for 1.
Just chuckling off here, yeah. And I don't know if wherever you're listening, watching from, you'd have heard. I'm not entirely sure if it was Maharaj or both Maharaj and Klaasen. After that shot was played well in control. Markram, correction, who was bowling. Shall catch it, Temba.
300s to New Zealand. India have a couple over in Dubai. England had a couple. Pakistan, the only team without one. Deliberately played by Kane Williamson. The hundreds for Latham, Rachin Ravindra and Will Young for New Zealand in this tournament.
That is excellent. Excellent control of length. A sixth sense, he's aware that Ravindra is going to try and do something, and that something generally will be try and get to him. And he's held that length back.
Straight. Very, very straight. And I don't think he was absolutely to the pitch of it either.
Yeah, the first boundary of the 24 deliveries. And this was nicely played because he wasn't in the right area. It kind of deceived him a little bit with length, but he still just backed himself. He had given himself enough room. And he took it straight down the ground, placed it perfectly. He has been in wonderful touch.
That reaction there says, oh, on another day.
Nailed that. It's just been a feature of Ravindra's innings that he's been able to pick those boundaries out often enough.
Yeah, nicely played. He got closer to this one, so he believed he could go up and over. And the contact was fantastic. Cleared mid-on comfortably, long on.
What he is able to do, Rachin Ravindra, is to just get on a roll, and there are little periods when he does. So in an over, he absolutely takes a bowler down. Attacks here, doesn't quite get to the previous one, but then the next one, courageous enough and in control enough to go again and get it away for 4. So the over ends up going for 13, and it shifts things ever so slightly and staves the wolves from the door, as it were, for him in terms of pressure. 143 for 1.
लिंक डिस्क्रिप्शन में और कमेंट बॉक्स में है। स्वागत है आप सभी लोगों का मेरी लाइव में। और आप सभी लोगों को मैं बता दूं, बड़ा ही शानदार ये मुकाबला चल रहा है। और यदि अभी तक आप सभी लोग हमारे टेलीग्राम चैनल से जाकर ज्वाइन नहीं हुए तो फटाफट से हमारे टेलीग्राम चैनल को जाकर ज्वाइन कर लीजिए। टेलीग्राम चैनल का लिंक डिस्क्रिप्शन में और कमेंट बॉक्स में आप सभी लोगों को मिल जाएगा। बहुत से बंदे कमेंट कर रहे हैं कि भाई इस मुकाबले का मैच विनर क्या है और क्यों, कौन सी टीम इस मुकाबले को जीतेगी, या लंबी यस करें या नोट करें सेशन में। तो गाइज आप सभी लोगों को बता दो, इस मुकाबले की जितने भी अपडेट हैं, मैच विनर रिपोर्ट, सेशन रिपोर्ट, पिच रिपोर्ट और टॉस रिपोर्ट, सारी की सारी आप सभी लोगों को मैं टेलीग्राम चैनल पर प्रोवाइड करवा दूंगा। तो जाइए फटाफट से हमारे टेलीग्राम चैनल को ज्वाइन कर लीजिए। लिंक डिस्क्रिप्शन में और कमेंट बॉक्स में आप सभी लोगों को मिल जाएगा। और साथ के साथ मैं आप लोगों को बता दूं, मैं हर मैच की प्लेयर और फ्लॉप प्लेयर आप सभी लोगों को बता देता हूं, ताकि आप सभी लोगों को फैंटेसी रिलेटेड भी हेल्प हो जाए।
Of the fact that both these batters will look to try and attack them, and so far holding length really well.
मांगीलाल जी हमारे साथ हैं, स्टील की वेल्डिंग करते हुए कमेंट्री सुन रहे हैं। क्या बात है मांगीलाल के जी, स्वागत है। रजब अली भी हमारे साथ, बहुत शुक्रिया रजब भाई।
Yeah, this is good from both Maharaj and Markram together. Well aware of the fact that both these batters will look to try and attack them. And so far, holding length really well.
.400s for Rachin Ravindra in his career. All 4 of them coming in ICC tournaments. 3 in the World Cup in 2023. And 1 in this Champions Trophy. What a wonderful young player.
Absolutely bristling with talent. And I don't know why it is. Spoke to him at the start of the game to say, well, why is it in tournaments you seem to be able to raise your game?
Good stop, good work.
Anderson does brilliantly there. Scoops it back, gets back onto his feet and just makes sure that he cuts it off to a second. When he throws it, and I don't know what happened there, how it ended up getting through to Marco Jansen. Have a look here. They were settled for 2. Van Edison ended up throwing the ball in. I don't know who it made contact with, but ricocheted off and they were back for a 3rd.
.147 for 1.
Towers there.
.100 partnership comes up. A little bit of fortune for Rachin Ravindra.
Yeah, Maharaj's reaction tells the story. Also brings up the 150 for New Zealand, but just lands in the footholds. I don't know if that played a part at all. Just a puff of dust as a pitching. And he gets that thick edge. Very fortunate. He's kind of deserved it, though, the way he's played. There's confirmation of the 100 partnership. 103 of 111 deliveries.
Yes, those 2 shots down the ground in the last over. The second one much fuller, still not absolutely perfectly close to it, but he just decided that he had to pull the trigger to get a shift in the balance of power.
That's great reaction. So often it's normally you try and follow, reduce the room, but he's gone outside.
Lovely use of the feet to get outside the line of it so he could hit against anticipated spin to the leg side.
Yeah, this is brilliant awareness from Kane Williamson. He used the ability to give himself room the other night against India, against Jadeja. Opened up the offside. This time he went and Maharaj saw him and he thought, okay, well, I'll bluff you. I'll go across outside the off stump. I know there's no one at deep mid wicket, and if I get anywhere near the pitch, I'll just flick it away. Well, it carried deep mid wicket, went the whole distance.
Both Ravindra and Williamson have decided they can't afford to just let Maharaj bowl. They've got to do something to reverse the pressure, put him under pressure, go and get some boundaries somehow. Even if fraught with danger, no risk, no reward. And they've done brilliantly in the last couple of his overs. 12 off that one, 159 for one.
The Lahore railway station, and a nice cool day here in this wonderful city. The action here at the Gaddafi Stadium, semi-final 2.
Yeah, Bush, we're going to just show you some of those examples against India where he went over the offside and he couldn't go leg side because of the nature of that surface. It was standing up, it was difficult to get away, it was just stopping on you. That's why he used his feet, showed a good awareness about how he could score. And it was expose the stumps, open up the offside. Today we saw him jump across because you can. The surface is different. Sliding on, you have got the ability. If you want to play the slog sweep or even just flick across the line, you can do it. It's a much better pitch, and he's adjusted his game plan accordingly.
There was one particular shot, I was on air actually, when he played 2 of those shots with Katie Martin. Not this one, but the next one. It's just touch. He did not power that at all and went for 4 to the bigger side. Oh, miss hit. Lands safely, perilously. And it brings up another half century, a 48th in ODI cricket. For New Zealand's greatest Kane Williamson to go with 14 centuries. And he wants to kick on. It's back-to-back half centuries in the ICC Champions Trophy 2025.
What a player. Absolutely brilliant. And finds a way.
Great players keep adding something to their game every year. You wouldn't have associated that with Kane a few years ago, maybe.
Yeah, brilliantly played. Tried a few of these in the last match as well. Then gets into position early. He tried it in the last over, picked out Lungi and Giddy behind square on the offside, but this time, no issues. Contact's good, placement superb. And he's starting to cut loose. Both of them are starting to cut loose. Danger times here for South Africa.
What's impressive about the way that they're going about it, almost typical of Williamson, is that there's a great control to the way they're trying to do it. Here's a look at highest batting average since 2022, and Williamson all the way up there, 66.5 just about. But so controlled, and advised to Ravindra as well, just to stay in that bubble, not to give away this position, which is a great one for the Black Caps. 169 for one. You just get a sense that a new batter comes.
वेलकम टू डायलॉग। हमारे मोहल्ले में आपका बहुत बहुत स्वागत है।
बहुत शुक्रिया, प्लीज।
अरे आप भी समोसे?
यू विल लव दिस समोसा। सुना है मार्केट में नए आए हैं।
और नए से हम नहीं खाते हुए।
नए माने?
वो लक्ष्मी है ना,
लक्ष्मी के फ्रोजन समोसे?
जी हाँ, ऑथेंटिक पंजाबी टेस्ट वाले।
एक समोसा और।
आपको नए वाले तो खाने नहीं थे।
यार ये तो लक्ष्मी है ना।
Introducing Lakshmi Frozen Samosa range.
The master craftsman Rachin Ravindra, one of the up-and-coming and establishing himself. Lungi and Giri. And remember this. Remember, folks, Sean knows this, Pommy knows this. Remember, Rachin obviously batted up the order at domestic level. But it was that World Cup in 2023 where Kane Williamson was injured, couldn't start the tournament, and Rachin moved from, 5, 6, 7 up to batting number 3 in that opening game against England because Kane wasn't there. Will Young was opening the batting, and that's where Rachin established himself at the top of the order for New Zealand. 3 centuries in that tournament, 500 plus runs. Kane came in for his first game later on and immediately broke his finger again against Bangladesh.
Perhaps that's it. Earlier, I asked him what it was about the tournament, and you've just painted that scenario. Think of young batters coming into teams, sidelines for an opportunity, and when they do get one, having to take it. Some can rise up, some can't. It's too much pressure for some, and they put too much pressure on themselves.
Yeah, nasty ball, Balungi. You're going to see plenty of these as he comes back for his second.
Yeah, killing me softly kind of batter, where a stab here, a stab there, all in control, plays late, quite delicate in the way he goes about it. You don't feel that he's bludgeoning it. Done.
I'm trying to think what South Africa could possibly do differently, Palmer. Now, I'm thinking maybe a keeper up to the stumps would prevent Ravindra from rocking forward like he does, because he loves to just kind of plant that front foot down and play through the line. And also with the amount of off-cutters like those deliveries and Gide's going to bowl, might just be a way of trying to create a little bit of pressure, because it does look too easy. And at 174 for 1, they're going to start taking plenty of risk because there's so much batting to come.
Yeah, you're troubleshooting, aren't you? And at the start of a game, the troubleshooting would have happened as well, where it was, okay, how are you going to get wickets here? And then recognize that it's not going to be so simple, and it's going to be kind of defensive the way you go. But as the game goes on and you've not been able to create the opportunities, it's a problem, a big one.
Dropped it. It was that pace off again from Lungi and Gidi. Couldn't hold on. 175 for 1.
Just the opportunity they were after. Gidi with that fantastic slower ball, and Williamson looking to force it. A fingertip job. Full length and horizontal as he goes to his right, Heinrich Klaasen, and just not quite able to keep a hold of it. Agonizing.
South Africa desperate for a breakthrough. And Heinrich Klaasen just not able to hold on to it. New Zealand with the platform set, but Williamson gets a let off. He's on 57. Ravindra, what a mature innings it's been. He's on 94. Khan and Ian Smith alongside me. The platform is set.
And South Africa needs something to happen. They had the opportunity previous over. That's not got to hand. At the moment, they're staring at a huge total to chase. Just over the top. Gave himself room. Extra cover is his region against spin. Just managed it to get over the top.
Well, I've certainly got an appetite for runs today. Williamson and Ravindra, second only to Pommy and Bangla and Ian Bishop. Did you see their lunches? Unbelievable. Caterer's nightmare.
When there's a buffet, you got to eat.
Yeah, the chef's gone on holiday.
Well, Williamson has decided to feast now. He's changed the nature of this partnership, the way he's gone about it, and have a look at this.
Yeah, you really need a piece of brilliance to break something, and that was in the offing there for Klaas, and the problem was he put it down. That could have lifted South Africa, could have lifted his fellow fielders.
We'll again and talk about the importance of taking wickets in the power play, how it sets up the middle overs. They fought so hard, and this, exactly what they would have needed. So much batting still to come for New Zealand. Rachinda Ravindra, you heard Ian Bishop speak so glowingly about how he's risen up since the 2023 World Cup. Humble campaigner, someone who's just so hungry for success. Works hard on his game, and playing alongside legends like Kane Williamson, he's just soaking up the experience and the opportunities at the highest level. End of 30 overs, New Zealand 181 for 1.
Some might add, but if it's the difference between getting McDonald's breakfast and settling for a Big Mac, well, run like the wind.
Sit in the hip like whenever you tip them up, got to sit in the hip like
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
India is growing massively and the whole world is investing here. Investment plans on the wind.
Sit in the hip like whenever you tip them up, got to sit in the hip like
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
India is growing massively and the whole world is investing here. Investment plans on policybazaar.com give up to 18% returns. Invest 18,000 rupees a month and get up to 2 crore rupees. Invest in India. Invest on policybazaar.com.
Best today, Kane Williamson, but the great players, they find a way, even when they know they're not hitting it beautifully. What he's tried to do here is use the feet more so than he perhaps normally would, and he's brought out a reverse sweep that he doesn't often play. He's played 4 of them so far. 3 of them have been ineffective. 1 was a beautiful boundary, but that's what
key to this partnership has just been how well they've run between the wickets. They played good classic shots, but also they found other options to be able to break the shackles in this period.
And this is an interesting, I won't say tactic, but it's an interesting break in play, because quite often you see when there's a 2 or 3 minute absence, and it happens at drinks breaks a lot, of play, absence of strike, there's a wicket. So whether this works in South Africa's favour or not, we'll have to wait and see.
Almost, Smithy, almost. The outside edge almost found. Sit here nervously as you call a wicket after a little break.
And he's never nervous.
But it just happens. You just see it happen, and it can become a bit of a tactic just to take the sting out of the batting partnership. They've got a drinks break not too far away, but maybe they've just decided we've just got to slow things down.
Next to the over, it's been hovering at that rate. The current rate, they'll get to 300. It's a good score here.
This is what New Zealand do so well. The partnerships. Well, Williamson, you say, hasn't batted to his very best, but Ravindra has more than made up for it. And he's almost got back-to-back boundaries whenever there's a little lull in play. And that has meant that they're now in a position of real strength.
Oh, really well bowled from Ngidi. Listen, just a gentle inquiry.
I wouldn't say they're overly confident here, although Klaasen is going to have a bit of say here, and Bavuma says, let's have a crack at this.
We have a player review for caught behind. The original decision is not out. I've checked the feet. It's a fair delivery. I'm looking at split screen at Moman. Appear to be a gap between bat and ball. I'll still check it with ultra edge. There's a flat line, a little gap as the ball passes the bat. I'm satisfied that there's no bat involved. Kumari will stay with your original decision. Stand by. The on-screen signal.
A review in hope, you would say. It's the man they want out, Rachin Ravindra. No, they did get a little bit nervous there. He's on 97.
Look, Rachin Ravindra, he looks so calm throughout their whole process. What you are seeing here is a bit of a snapshot of New Zealand batting history, I think. You're seeing the greatest New Zealand's ever produced with someone who might threaten them. If Rachin Ravindra continues on in this vein, he's already got such a reputation in world cricket of performing on a big stage, ICC events, that you just wonder where it might lead to. And it's a real... I won't say master and the apprentice, that's too easy. There's another line somewhere.
Today, look at the scores projected. New Zealand can build on this platform, certainly looking at well over 350. You say they've been reeling off these 100-run stands in this competition. It's one of the reasons why they are in the semi-finals. They've batted so well, particularly in these middle period. $184 for one.
We do things differently, but our passion for our cricket teams is the same. And the only team we support more fiercely is family. Send money back home to your loved ones with Remitly. Download the app.
Purity in our heart, quality in your cart. For 50 years, Lakshmi Henna.
These not good signs for South Africa. Vian Mulder is getting some attention from the physio earlier. Now, lots for Bavuma to think about. Tristan Stubbs comes in. Not good news at all.
No, it's not. It isn't, because Mulder has been one of the most conservative bowlers in terms of runs scored off him. He's been a very good asset for South Africa in the games that they've played. And the other thing about South Africa, of course, this is only their third outing because of rain. They've been pretty disrupted, so it's pretty hard to get fluency into the game.
All eyes on Rachin Ravindra. He's on 98. Growing up watching his heroes in action in these international tournaments, and here he is on the big stage. Issa Rabada, ball in hand, 9 for 20 in his 4 overs. Run the first one hard, and he'll get the second run. Rachin Ravindra, what a player. His 5th ODI 100 and all in ICC tournaments. A rising star for New Zealand, and his teammates stand up to applaud him.
I'd clap too if I didn't have to hold the microphone. Nice of you to stand up. What are you doing, Baz? Stand up. Come on, you're seeing some real class here. Absolute brilliance. You're seeing batting of the future. What an innings, though. In all honesty and all seriousness, it's been fantastic to watch. So easy on the eye, so relaxed, so young. So exciting for the game. Forget New Zealand, the game as a whole.
Role model for young players. Watching how he has been able to take to international cricket and runs keep flowing.
Now the question is how hungry are New Zealand? They are staring down the barrel of a very big total here. This is a knockout semi-final. How ruthless can they be, these two?
That was his 13th boundary to go with his 6th. But we've seen some divine stroke play throughout the innings. On top of the bounce, length deliveries disappearing to the fence. That's why it's been so difficult to bowl at.
He'll talk about all of his role models, Kumar Sangakkara. He'll talk about Matthew Hayden, Ponting, Kohli. All of them will be sitting here thinking, this guy, he's something.
I think Haydos wants to claim him in some way.
He probably has.
I think he does. I kind of thought the other night I saw Matthew Hayden almost physically fall in love with Rachin Ravindra.
Oh, it's a bromance.
Batting-wise.
Yes, it's a bromance.
Sort of a father bromance, isn't it?
Haydos is always proud when he sees young talent do well. And someone like Rachin Ravindra batting alongside Kane Williamson. He'll give him so much confidence. The calm with which Williamson bats. The courage with which Ravindra goes about his business.
That's the first thing, or the second thing that Williamson would have said to Rachin after saying well played. He said, we can't be done here. We cannot be done with this. We've got a situation here where we won the toss and batted for this exact reason, to put South Africa under pressure and put a score on the board that would really threaten their chances. 13 innings, 500s already.
Look at that. They can do no wrong at the moment, New Zealand. The runs are flowing. 13 from the over so far with 1 ball to go.
Finesse. It's not about brute force, it's just using the pace. And it's beautifully played. Really wants them to carry on. If they bat like this, they can carry on till the 50th over. Want them to go hard, but if you can just manipulate the field and still get 13, that is good enough. That's even better than good enough. That's brilliant.
Come on, Kane Williamson. 4 runs from the legend himself. It brings up the 150-run partnership. New Zealand reached 201 for 1 after 32 overs.
You're a small business owner. You don't have time to waste. That's why you go to Biz2 Credit for funding. Our simple application makes it easy to get fast financing. Time for funding? It's time for Biz2 Credit.
I've had this bat since I first started playing. Scoring runs, winning titles, and making some good friends. It has been a part of every triumph and valuable lesson. But as you grow up, so should your tools. From now on, I'm going bold. I'm stepping into the grown-up game. Give your all. VTEX, commerce for the bold.
जश्न मना है खुशियों की लड़ी जगमगाई है
Purity in our heart, quality in your cart. For 50 years, Lakshmi है ना.
घर से आने के बाद में घर आएगा साथ में हमारे टेस्ट में आंगन की याद है
Ashoka, desi at heart.
We might speak, eat, and celebrate differently, but the passion we share for our cricket teams is the same. Together we cheer for those we love. And the only team we support more fiercely is family, wherever they live. Send money back home to your loved ones with Remitly. Download the app today.
Desi Natural never misses a Desi moment. Authentically Desi, deliciously Desi, always Desi. Same great taste, now with a new look. Visit DesiFreshFoods.com.
New Zealand faced off in a semi-final.
Elliott on strike. Elliott hits it for the grand slam, and New Zealand are in the World Cup final. Grant Elliott, Superman. South Africa despair. They're down on their knees. New Zealand goes wild. They're making the trip for the big prize.
The shot that broke South African hearts and the voice that voices some of the greatest moments in world cricket. Ian Smith on the mic, and that is how it ended in Auckland. Smithy.
I remember it for a number of reasons. Just human reasons, really. There was a wonderful shot of Dale Steyn, who was sort of on his knees on the pitch, and Grant Elliott went down the pitch and helped pick him up. There was just so many. We saw A.B. de Villiers on there. But Eden Park is basically a rugby ground where they play cricket as well, and they have done for a long time. But when it rocks, it rocks. And that physically, that grandstand rocked because every person stood and jumped and partied, and it shook the stand. It was magnificent. And it was just one of those special moments in a country sport as opposed to a sports sport. To get my drift, everyone was united by one shot, really.
I thought the caller didn't do too bad a job either.
Thank you, but you just go with the flow, don't you? I mean, I was as fired as was anyone, to be honest. I'd one of your countrymen alongside me who wasn't quite in the same mood, a fellow with a similar surname to mine, who had hopes, but he was dashed. Poor old Graham Smith, and if he's watching, and I'm sure he is somewhere around the world now. I remember Graham.
It is getting all emotional.
Williamson goes over the top. Some of the best moments in the game. I mean, obviously, many who stop you talk about all various margins, but that moment.
Well, I think that one was good because it was at home, and it was on our stage. And that one lingers for a long, long time. The Grant Elliott, who I work with quite a lot in commentary, and struggle to meet a nicer guy than Grant Elliott. Actually, he's a champion bloke. And South Africans sometimes claim him, Baz, as preparing him for that moment, and we took the moment.
Yeah. The South African winning it for New Zealand on a huge stage.
Williamson goes big and clears the ropes for 6. 11 from the over, 212 for 1.
Technology offers the knowledge of equanimity and a harmonious way of living. Embrace the positive energy the universe ensures for you. Always trust that you deserve a fulfilling and a joyous life. Call me today and get to know the path of success waiting for you.
Off the bat, and that sounded very, very good.
Williamson up to 80 from 77, strike rate over 103. Look at how he's caught up. A wonderful stand between Ravindra and Williamson. They endured the quiet periods and got a move on just at the right time. Hesitation.
It's all about damage control now for South Africa. You look at the score and it's 212 for 1, still almost 17 overs to go, so 350 right on the cards. And also with South Africa not being great at the back end too. They're not a side which are very good at the death over, so problems all the way through.
Yeah, when you can keep Maharaj wicketless in this middle period, you know you've done a good job.
South Africa are a good fielding side. But I think when you look at two things here, you look at just how much the batters dominated. None of the South African fielders who are brilliant have really been in the game. They've taken them out of it by hitting gaps or over the top. Had the one real clear chance where Heinrich Klaasen could have taken a wonderful catch to split this partnership, bring a new player out. Sometimes that can change a lot of momentum. This time, straight into the hands of Klaasen, and one of the better innings you'll see in a while is over.
Desperately need this is South Africa. It is pace off outside off stump. Ravindra, for once, not in sync with the pace off the surface. The cutter, a little bit of bounce, edge through to the keeper. Relief for South Africa. We'll just take a moment to take this all in. This has been simply superb from Ravindra. A high quality innings if you've seen one. Classical batting all around the park. 108 he got of 101. South Africa 212 for 2.
I've had this bat since I first started playing. Scoring runs, winning titles, and making some good friends. It has been a part of every triumph and valuable lesson. But as you grow up, so should your tools. From now on, I'm going bold. I'm stepping into the grown-up game. Give your all. BTEX, commerce for the bold.
Alongside Williamson, the platform is set. A wonderful stand with Ravindra.
Yeah, it was a good piece of bowling because it was wide going across, and Rachin Ravindra looking to thrash it over the offside, which you've seen so often on this particular occasion, not getting that one right at all, dragged back. It's the other point I was going to make. They've taken a lot of the South African better fielders out of play. But you realise that after 212 for 2, 33.3 overs, it's only 3 extras. That's how batting dominant this has been.
Good stop. And can one bring two? Can they really start getting into this New Zealand batting lineup? Latham still to come. He's had such a good tournament. And how well Glenn Phillips can bat. Rabada's got the important breakthrough.
What South Africa do want is, even if they don't get a wicket, 2 or 3, maybe 4 overs, quiet overs.
Well, South Africa see this as a chance. Another quick wicket. If they could get Williamson, 2 new players out there. But it was noticeable that they were very hungry inside the circle when Mitchell is on strike, trying to keep pressure on him as the new player. And Mitchell is a fine striker of the ball. And I think that's what he's got to try and do today. I'm not sure that he needs to take time to get in. He just has to really work out how big he wants to hit it and let Williamson perhaps bat through.
Awful job. If you're the South African captain, you look up at the scoreboard, 213 for 2. That run rate is shot up to 6.3. $213 for 2.
for Ravindra. Williamson 80 of 78. Plenty of batting to come, but it's got to that stage when you've got the license to actually make sure that try and get as many as you can. So Mitchell has to go straight away. With the two right-handers in, Williamson and now Mitchell, the obvious choice just right now would be left arm spin, and that's exactly where Bavuma is going.
Challenge for South Africa is just how well New Zealand play in Pakistan conditions. We saw that in the Tri-Series. They've continued that form into the Champions Trophy. And Williamson's still there. He's the problem. He's the one standing in the way. On 80 from 78.
They love it in Pakistan. They come every couple of months or so. I think Smitty also now wants to just come here every couple of months. Why not? New Zealand have toured Pakistan so often. You talked about how well they play, but it's just about the country they want to visit time and time again.
I think Mitchell will. I think he put the foot down here very quickly within this innings. What he does like to do is come down towards spinners and hit them down the ground straight. There's a mid-on and a mid-off, back on the boundary and long positions. But what Mitchell, he won't want to, he knows exactly.
They've been the key throughout their campaign, and it's the partnership between Williamson and Ravindra that has set things up. Can they make good use of it? Can they get to a score of around 350 and put South Africa under pressure in this knockout game? Dot ball to end the 35th over. New Zealand 216 for 2.
वेलकम टू डैलेस। हमारे मोहल्ले में आपका बहुत बहुत स्वागत है।
बहुत शुक्रिया। प्लीज।
अरे आप भी समोसे?
यू विल लव दिस समोसा। सुना है मार्केट में नए आए हैं।
ओए नए से हम नहीं खाते हुए।
नए माने?
वो लक्ष्मी है ना।
लक्ष्मी के फ्रोजन समोसे?
जी हाँ, ऑथेंटिक पंजाबी टेस्ट वाले। एक समोसा और।
आपको नए वाले तो खाने नहीं थे।
यार ये तो लक्ष्मी है ना।
Introducing Lakshmi Frozen Samosa range.
It's just short of Ben Duckett now. Does Rachin Ravindra? Mitchell goes out towards deep mid-wicket. All of it, and it'll be a couple. Ian Smith mentioned that might just put the foot down from ball one. Daryl Mitchell, it's his day, it's his day. New Zealand's such a good position, they can afford to go from quite an early stage now. Push for two here. Ravindra with an 105th, as Kasnadu mentioned. All of them coming in ICC men's 50 over events, 3 at the World Cup, 2 here. The Champions Trophy now. Side edge into the ribs, I think. Well, a gentleman who didn't mind that. They'll stay in. Ian Bishop. Afternoon to you both. It's a trio I don't mind bowling first change to.
Yeah, it's a good short ball by KG Rabada. We saw South Africa do that in the start of this innings, and it's kind of gone away throughout this innings. Has New Zealand had built a big partnership there for the second wicket. Might see a couple more short balls. They need to take a couple more wickets to get into this batting lineup. No better time to do it than when the new batter comes to strike. Gets you a couple dots. You might even be able to get yourself a sneaky wicket with a short ball.
No surprises there. What we saw earlier with the surface, the batters are not top of the fantasy game, then someone's going to have to bowl really well. Experienced umpires throughout the tournament. The big names getting opportunities in the semi-finals. Gap on the leg side, they'll push for a couple again. 8 from the over, 224 for 2. Couple to go for Keshav Maharaj. Giddy's been the pick of the bowlers from an economy point of view. Help out towards that cover man. Couple again. Crowds built up nicely throughout the afternoon. Inside edge, and we'll run away for a couple at least. Intense so far though from Mitchell. New man to the crease, can't afford to let things drift.
Yeah, straight away when the score's 200.
Guys like Klaasen, guys like Malcolm, Rickleton in the form.
over 10 from it. 234 for 2.
You don't wake up dreaming of McDonald's fries. You wake up dreaming of McDonald's hash browns. Set your alarm.
We do things differently, but our passion for our cricket teams is the same. And the only team we support more fiercely is family. Send money back home to your loved ones with Remitly. Download the app.
Jan Mulder. Overs for 32.
Ravindra was able to use that pace, pick him up over mid-wicket. Interested to see if he'll use more of a change of pace, and Gidi used that option early on. We saw New Zealand batters struggle with that. Will he use more of a change of pace? Third man and finally got inside the ring now, so it is an option for him.
Intriguing to find out from our ball tracking or analysts.
Oh, clever. Very clever from Williamson. Outfoxed momentarily.
Mulder saw him coming. I think he saw him coming, made a good adjustment, and so did Williamson. I think it'd be interesting to find out what's the strike rate, what's the tempo with pace on the ball so far versus pace off the ball.
There's your answer, Bishop.
And that is information that you have to be able to take in.
What a magnificent piece of placement and timing from Kane Williamson.
Two failures in the first two games of this tournament, and then he went to Dubai and he struggled a little bit early on, especially with his half-century. And with all great players, that time in the middle, you would hope quite often would lead to something approaching your best.
I think back, Muzza, when he brought up his half-century through that mid to late 40 range, I think he had strike rate of about 70, 75 at that time. He's at 110 now after 87 balls. Picked it up beautifully. .50 off 61 balls. He was. It's away with it.
There's an option for the South Africans that if they are going to go short into the pitch is to potentially use the slower ball bouncer. The quicker one hasn't exactly gotten up today, and nor has it rushed the batters. The potential of actually dragging it even shorter, change of pace, forcing the New Zealanders to try and create some pace off that short ball. Something we could, or they could certainly try. See if they can get one to splice and get caught at deep square or cow.
Should just be the one. That will. That finishes the 38th over. 243 for 2. Last over for Keshav Maharaj. None for 63. How will Mitchell in particular take this over on? You say a wicket here sets us back a little bit. Do we be a little more conservative?
If you're Marco Jansen, who has 4 overs available to him, you've already got to start thinking, how am I going to operate when I come back? Would have been a wide, very slow. We know what Longini will do. He'll take pace off the ball.
We just saw how scuffed the ball is. Be interesting to see, coming into the last 10 overs, New Zealand in such a wonderful position. If South Africa have picked a side on that ball to potentially see if they can get it to reverse. And if they can use KG and Marco Jansen to get the ball to tail just a little bit, it might be the difference between a score going 360 and 340. And that ball is tremendously scuffed up. But is the other side shiny? Have they worked on it enough to just get it to tail in the back end of this innings?
Keshav doesn't look like he's doing anything with it. It's typical spinners. Lovely bit of flight again and good fielding. Tidy from Maharaj at the moment. Last ball for Keshav Maharaj's spell. Last over's been brilliant, just the 1 run from it. Williamson will keep the strike in the end of Maharaj. 10 overs, none for 65. With 11 to go, it's 245 for 2.
Purity in our heart, quality in your cart. For 50 years, Lakshmi hai na.
हर मील में फील है, देसी फील है. हर मील में फील है, टेस्टी डील्स है.
Ashoka, Desi at heart.
Sadness of some power still to come for New Zealand. Things will change in that batting lineup whether Phillips will be the next man in. Well, decent numbers here this afternoon. Might improve a touch more through the evening. Really pleasant conditions for fans in-house. 23, 24 degrees. Breeze coming across the ground as well. Probably only has to bowl 1 more. Markram bowled 4, so go back to the big 3 after this over. Very clever indeed, and that will do it for Kane Williamson. Back to back to back hundreds in his last 3 games against South Africa. And his 15th one-day international century. Simply superb. He played a second fiddle to Rachin Ravindra for much of the innings. And he's taken the spotlight now.
His ingenuity is grown exponentially across a celebrated career. No fuss, leads by example, lets the bat do the talking.
Right on.
Fourth 100 in an ICC ODI men's event. 4th against South Africa as well. Just those 300s back to back to back. One last month here in that try series. The one before that, so the only fifth that against South Africa was the 2019 World Cup in Birmingham, where he picked up 100.
I think that was the last time Joe Root scored 100 too. What a fantastic knock. He started a little bit slow in his initial innings. Bishop Maharaj just managed to hold it on him. Since then, he's been wonderful.
You spoke about him from a young age this afternoon, Simon Dolan. He just seems so quiet and unassuming as he goes along his business. To us on the outside anyway. You said he's sharp, he understands numbers. But even if you pass him on the pitch, it's a very soft-spoken hello. So I said, as a senior player, that Willow does more speaking than perhaps he does any shouting anyway.
Yeah, that's a great assessment, Bishop. And also the esteem he has held in around the world, not only in New Zealand, not only in that changing room where he has been such a large part of so many years now, but I think hear people around the world talk about Kane Williamson. Find many with a bad word. Every franchise he goes to. There it goes again. This one should be out. Should be out. It is out. Taken. It's just a little bit too far outside the line of off to get enough momentum on it. Comes up the 100 and then is dismissed.
First fault by Kane Williamson. But you cannot take away from the man the 100 that he scored today. It's been a fantastic knock. He's gotten New Zealand into an absolute wonderful position of 251. He's scored runs all around the ground today. He's made the bowlers toil. It was a wonderful knock. Kane Williamson, he's gone for 102. New Zealand 251 for 3.
लजीजा रसमलाई घर में फौरन तैयार।
Three down. So Tom Latham. Left-hander comes to the crease. Record for the New Zealand wicketkeeper batter. Better than that 85 strike rate today in this innings with the platform that he has been provided.
It's very good from Vian Mulder because Kane Williamson feigned as if he was going to back away outside like stump, and I don't know if that's the reason Mulder decided to go wide Yorker as opposed to straight, or if he saw Kane sort of just coming back across. But very good control over the full length and wide of the off stump as Williamson moved across. Have a look at it again. You see, he feigns to go outside like stump. Mulder throws it wide outside the off stump. He's taken a bit of tap today, Vian Mulder, and he came back well with that wicket.
Pinch one, tight, very tight, direct head. I think Latham would have been struggling. Tristan Stubbs, the substitute fielder, 40 overs gone, 252 for 3. 7.1 for the last 10, so just increased slightly each time. New Zealand would love that to jump around about the 8.5, 9, even 10 mark for the last 10. Player. South Africa have actually got 5 inside the circle here now. Whether that's just because they're trying to squeeze the new batter. Push for 2 here. Oh, Mitchell thought about it momentarily. Vote for your player of the tournament. Patel, Josh Inglis, Marco Jansen, Tom Latham, championstrophy.com/POTT, player of the tournament. Vuma has the option now of Jansen and Ngidi and Rabada to close things out. 3 apiece left after this. For each of those, how he operates with them. Still 5 inside. Mitchell just 4 inside. He just trying to squeeze Latham a little bit more. Edge of the game, pretty good captaincy. Over backward point. And push for 2? I don't think so. Pretty good from Jansen so far.
This is the last 10 overs that has happened in the game. We saw a couple hundreds from New Zealand, and a couple wickets for the South Africans. A good pitch to bat on. Bowlers have to work hard for their wickets. We've seen some wonderful shots. Wickets. It'll be very interesting to see how the last 10 overs go. New Zealand playing a little bit of tip and run right now. Left-handed, right-hander coming in. Themba Bavuma has got to move his fielders all over the place. Every single ball, you'll see guys are running in, running out, all over. The boundaries are not there. At least the runs are still ticking over for New Zealand.
2 deliveries above 130, 3 below 122. 3 out of the 5 pace off from Jansen as he go again. Good finish and a really tidy over from Marco Jansen. 257 for 3.
घर से आने के बाद में घर आएगा साथ में हमारे टेस्ट में कहीं घर आंगन की याद है हमारे साथ में थोड़ी देसीपन की बात है
Ashoka Desi at heart.
One of the things that you're looking at as a batting unit and those sitting in the dressing room is working. Simon Donald mentioned the number of deliveries with pace off. That was the last ball of the over. and the strike rate for deliveries under a certain speed. So if you're Kane Williamson, if you're Latham, if you're Daryl Mitchell, and the bowling group sitting in the pavilion, what is working for South Africa, what is not working, and try to inform your decision making around that when you come to field.
Looking to be a little bit cute, Tom Latham, and Rabada is spot on target.
Tom Latham looking to just try and find a boundary early in the over. KG Rabada going seam up. And he's missed it. It's cannoned into the stumps. KG Rabada's bowled well today. He's managed to find the length. He's managed to find the right pace on this deck. Tom Latham's gone for 4. New Zealand 257 for 4.
You're a small business owner. You don't have time to waste. That's why you go to Biz2 Credit for funding. Our simple application makes it easy to get fast financing. Time for funding?
Time for Biz2 Credit.
Discover the world with CheapOair.com. Join millions of travelers who save on the best flights, hotels, cars, and more. Travel specialists are available 24/7 to help you plan and book your next journey. And you can earn club miles you can redeem on future CheapOair book trips. Travelers wanted at CheapOair.com.
Couple of quick wickets for South Africa, 251 and 257. Williamson and Latham going. Glenn Phillips is the new man. Powerful player, but South Africa have just done a pretty good job. Maharaj's last over. And then a very good one from Janssen. Now a great start from Rabada. The last 13 deliveries been terrific from South Africa's point of view, just trying to haul things back. They would have to be pretty happy with anything under 320.
Fantastic skill set that you have to develop in the white ball game, and one of the things that's different from the red ball game is how late you keep your peripheral view on the batter's feet. With Yorker, because you have to, as you get into your gava, still be looking as the bowling arm comes down and over, where is he shaping to play that shot, and as late as you can. It's not easy. Be willing to adjust your line, make an adjustment in line or length from the preconceived plan that you initially had right at the top of your mark there.
Is underway.
I'm sitting next to two bowlers here, and Dale, you are the most modern of all of us, and I've talked ad infinitum to young bowlers and ask them about that, and some guys say you can't change from your plan, you can't do it at the top of your mark, and I always said, really? You have to be able to make a late change from your initial plan. It's good to have a plan at the top of your mark, where Rabada is now, but it has to be subject to variation.
We've had a wide. Daryl Mitchell chose to hit it.
Yeah, as a bowler, you'll stand at the top of your mark, and with every ball that you bowl, you have to have the ball kind of cover 2 fields, so that the batter feels that one ball could come, but there's always the option of something else. But in terms of late adjustments, for the quick bowlers, incredibly difficult if a batter moves extremely late. You want to bowl the ball that you bowled, and if the batter hits you off that ball, you can say, well done. But there are bowlers that are able to adjust just slightly in length, and often that is the change in length that does a batter, and you can find a wicket or miss hit, and it might not go for 6, it might not go for 4, something very small like that.
It's a backward a point. A little bit of power, but again, Janssen been good in the field today. 242 gone, 261 for 4.
वेलकम टू डैलेस। हमारे मोहल्ले में आपका बहुत बहुत स्वागत है।
बहुत शुक्रिया, प्लीज।
अरे आप भी समोसे?
यू विल लव दिस समोसा। सुना है मार्केट में नए आए हैं।
ओए नए से हम नहीं खाते हुए।
नए माने?
वो लक्ष्मी है ना,
लक्ष्मी के फ्रोजन समोसे?
जी हाँ, ऑथेंटिक पंजाबी टेस्ट वाले। एक समोसा।
आपको नए वाले तो खाने नहीं थे
यार, ये तो लक्ष्मी है ना।
इंट्रोड्यूसिंग लक्ष्मी फ्रोजन समोसा रेंज।
अगली बार अगर इस तरह की खीर बनाओ तो ज्यादा बना।
लजीजा खीर मिक्स, रिश्तों में लाए प्यार की मिठास।
Left-handers. One boundary in the last 4 overs. Tell you that South Africa have pulled things back really nicely.
Yeah, through some accurate bowling. Kane Williamson was scooping initially in his innings, and he scooped successfully. Ian Mulder then outsmarted him, outthought him, and out-executed him in prizing out his wicket. And that's some of the things that I was talking to and alluding to about altering slightly a plan. And again, I'm saying, Dale and Simon Dool and viewers, I'm saying you have to be clear at the top of your mark what your initial plan is. You have to be clear. And as you said, if he hits a good ball, the batter hits a good ball, but you still have to also have a little peripheral vision, and it's not easy. But it's skills that guys have to practice now. Have to. Otis Gibson, former West Indies fast bowler and sometimes England coach, he says to me that, and a lot of coaches do it, one of their practice sessions is Yorker practice. He's got 2 different or 3 different color markers in his hand, and as the bowler jumps into his stride, he'll put up one. Let's say red is straight Yorker, or he'll flick up the yellow, wide Yorker, or he'll flick up another color, pace off, at the very last moment, preparing them for this.
I've got one that could potentially top that. I've seen two coaches stand on either side with a piece of rope and a marker in the middle. And as the bowler's running in between the 2 coaches, they'll decide which one's going to pull. And they pull their marker, and then that marker moves towards the leg side or moves more towards the off side. And then the bowler has to adapt to follow and hit. It's also a very good one. And you adapt on the movement.
Straight down the ground, not perfectly timed, but good enough for 4. Daryl Mitchell. Welcome boundary.
Marco Jansen just getting into a little bit of the strike zone. Just misses his length a little bit. Daryl Mitchell is able to free the arms in a much needed boundary. It's his first boundary. He's been out for 27 balls so far. He hasn't quite found the ropes, but things can change quickly.
Ball is for 2. Phillips, lightning quick. Coaches wear gloves with that, Dale, or a bit of rope burn might be a problem?
I've actually never done it. I've just heard about it. I want to claim it, but no.
If I have enough time, I'd love to have gotten into your Yorker training exercise and which option you use.
That'll be 4 more, and all that Yorker training will be talked about in the next innings. Ian Bishop, that was just slightly short, slightly wide, into the 43rd, 274 for 4.
What if your parents had a medical emergency in India? PolicyBazaar.com offers complete assistance pre, during and post hospitalization. Buy 1 crore health insurance on PolicyBazaar.com starting at just 2,000 rupees a month. Buy now.
There's a time and a place for a Phillips.
the morning isn't one of them.
Dip, sit in the hip like whenever you tip them all got to sit.
Set your alarm.
Seven overs. How many? Tens gets them 344. Just a single, that one. A test for the South Africans here. How well can they go in this final phase? Death bowling. Yeah, slower ball there into the pitch, but third up in the circle. And Mitchell, who had just got his first boundary, gets a second, and he'll hope that cuts him loose.
Yeah, Palmer, the boys before us were discussing the possible options, and I suppose when you do your analysis and preparation for these games, you look at what's been successful on the surface throughout the tournament, and we've seen a lot of short pitch deliveries. We saw in Afghanistan when they were trying to defend that total against England. There was a lot of short deliveries into the surface, thinking maybe, okay, the ball's got soft, it's going to hold up, it's been difficult to hit. So it's going to be interesting to see what the South Africans do at this back end here. I think also that ball looks like it's been scuffed up majorly when we've seen close-ups of it, so there's a good chance that you should be able to get some reverse swing. It looks worse for wear. And you're not allowed to use the split anymore, but as much sweat in there as you possibly can and try and get one side smooth and get it to shape.
Well, it's seen the bat a lot because there's only been 4 extras out of 276 runs.
Big, that. Huge. In a game such as this, a pitch such as this, what you want to be able to do, you'll hear them say it. Control the controllables, do your part with your execution, and one of those things is extras. Just the 3 wides. You don't want to be giving anyone any extra runs. And South Africa, I think early on, were really good in that power play to get out. Thought they did well. And now will be tested again. The back end, what's your defense like? And it was defensive up at the front, yes, but what about with them going? Light inquiry, I think, on the run out. Oh, baggy green. Thing early.
I don't think he knows what Cappy's got on, personally.
Wants to go home. Not happy at all. Yeah, worked to that onside, a good one that for South Africa, just the 5, 44 gone, 279 for 4.
Smithy, you're touching on the fact that there's just been the 4 extras, and often when the ball's swinging around or maybe nipping off the surface, there'll be more because it'll either shape too much and be a wide, or it'll nip back, hit someone on a pad, they run through for a single. But it hasn't been the case for the bowlers today. They've got to think of other options, and it's actually been the slower balls that have been the most effective. A little package for you, and the New Zealand bowlers will be watching this. Have a look at that one, gripped, received. There was an edge that was put down. The short, slower balls have also been really effective. Was the wicket early on of Young, and then another wicket with a slower ball. That was the end of Ravindra. So it's been the most effective delivery and the one that's caused the most problems with any sort of variation whatsoever.
shot. Set himself for the slower ball with Ngidi operating. And he was right this time, and that'll help a great deal.
I mean, he has had his best. He has a big six hitter, Daryl Mitchell. And this one is just rolled his fingers down the side. Still came through at a relatively good rate. Was an absolute slower delivery, and it just hurried on and cleared the boundary with ease, actually. That's where Mitchell was dangerous, and that's early in the over.
Slower ball again. Mulder, doesn't get it. And it's on for 4 as well. Total misjudgment. Didn't see it at all. Looking into the west.
Yeah, it was misjudgment from you. You can see the shadows, and they're very long at this stage of the day. I don't know if this really affected it. I don't think he picked it up early. There's the shadows he had to deal with, but he was just too far back. Ended up having to launch himself forward, and he'll be disappointed with that. Mulder has good hands, and that would have been another important blow for South Africa to try and curb the scoring rate.
Top shot that. Short, wide and cut away. Pressure telling here. And they creep closer to 300.
And Daryl Mitchell, 47 from 34 now. At one stage he'd faced 25 deliveries, and there's about 17. I thought, he just can't find his timing. He's missed a game through illness. Didn't really get going, and the one he came back in either. And the partnership with Williamson against India, which never really kicked in. But it might now be the fact that Mitchell's found his zone.
Field stays the same. Fine leg, third up in the circle, so still slow and straight. Yeah, can't see it all. Mulder is looking for that one that was along the ground there.
I feel sorry for him, actually, because the sun is very, very low, and there is a terrace grandstand that he's looking straight into. But honestly, with the sun just above it there, that is very, very tough. Often you try not to make excuses for them, but I feel for him on that, because that's going straight into his eyes at a low level.
And you can't put the glasses on because there's a sort of haze, isn't there? That when you have them on, it'll be even worse. Another version of that slower ball from Ngidi. 17 off. They needed that, New Zealand. 296 for 4.
Purity in our heart, quality in your cart. For 50 years, Lakshmi Henna.
We do things differently, but our passion for our cricket teams is the same. And the only team we support more fiercely is family. Send money back home to your loved ones with Remitly. Download the app.
5 to go. And the building blocks have been pretty good. South Africa good with those 3 wickets kind of latterly as this has gone along. But the test is now.
There's that sun once again. Just thinking about the total and where they're looking like they're going to head in. It should be 350, you would think, and that wasn't enough for England. Australia chased that down, but the context of this ground, you've got to be getting in excess of 325, maybe even up to 350. You do feel that it really did look good for batting early on.
Yeah, shout was for 2. It's gone straight to long on, so it shouldn't be, particularly with Miller fielding that. Good arm, also very quick across the ground. It should get to E50 from here, you'd say. Should. Phillips 10 from 13. Well worked. Very well worked. And away for 4.
Just got inside the line of it.
Yeah, he timed this so well, actually. It looked awkward. When he initially played it, he looked a little bit cramped, but somehow he's managed to get this away beautifully. Didn't really bounce, did it? He had to stay really low in the shot to get that much timing. Was, in the end, beautifully executed, bringing up the 300.
It's all about his eyes and his hands. I mean, no foot movement whatsoever. Almost like a sweep shot in a standing position.
That'll go as well. One bounce and over the ropes for 4 more. 2 in a row. New Zealand turning it on here just at the right time.
I'm trying to work out what the plan is here for South Africa, and I can't see it. Can't see it. It was slow deliveries from Lungi and Gidi. And now it's on the angle. It's length deliveries. You're cutting across it. But on the angle, it's just opening up iron leg, and there's no one back there.
Shifted deep backward square a little bit finer, so he's about 15 yards finer than he was, but thinking that they'd have to hit it squarer because there's no pace on the ball, but Phillips has been able to do that.
Shot again. Glenn Phillips with a fantastic cameo here. He's 22 from just 16. 50 partnership comes up, and it's off 29 balls. It's the flourish at the end here that New Zealand required to get back on track.
And some great camera shots there of a couple of players that know they're going to have to be at their best a bit later on. Heinrich Klaas, fine strikers know this is a good surface.
In the gap. Oh, wow. Glenn Phillips. What an over that is. 18 off. New Zealand onto 314 for 4.
Last 2 overs have changed the course of this. South Africa would have been thinking we can keep this down to 320, 330. You know, we've got a decent old chance if we bat well, because this is still a very good pitch, and it will be later tonight. But 17 off one, 18 off the next is pretty well set up for New Zealand. Even if they got a run of ball now, they 340 plus.
Last 30 balls, 57 runs. Where South Africa looked like they were putting the squeeze on, and you thought, oh, something's got to give, might get another couple of wickets. Well, Phillips has turned up here and has played well, and also Mitchell has just found his touch. A couple of boundaries have sent him on his way. Big shot. Rabada back there. He takes it. Had to navigate his way to ensure that he didn't have the same trouble as Mulder had an over or so ago. Mitchell goes. It's Ngidi once again with that slower ball.
Yeah, wide slow ball. Mitchell trying to drag it to the leg side, and you can see where it makes contact with the bat. And that's well judged by Rabada. Charging, and he takes it comfortably. He started off slowly, but he ended up playing a really good knock of 49 with 37. 3-7, 14 for 5.
वेलकम टू डैलेस। हमारे मोहल्ले में आपका बहुत बहुत स्वागत है।
बहुत शुक्रिया। प्लीज।
अरे आप भी समोसे?
यू विल लव दिस समोसा। सुना है मार्केट में नए आए हैं।
और नए से हम नहीं खाते हुए।
नए माने?
वो लक्ष्मी है ना।
लक्ष्मी के फ्रोजन समोसे?
जी हाँ, ऑथेंटिक पंजाबी टेस्ट वाले।
एक समोसा और।
आपको नए वाले तो खाने नहीं थे।
यार ये तो लक्ष्मी है ना।
इंट्रोड्यूसिंग लक्ष्मी फ्रोजन समोसा रेंज।
Strike rate, you can't work it. Another look at the wicket.
He had to pitch it from quite wide, didn't he? It was threatening the wide line actually, for that reason. And it was interesting to note actually, when this catch was taken, that the bowler was pointing down there, and he wasn't saying your innings is over. I think he was pointing at Aiden Markram saying thanks for the idea. I'll bowl wider, slower wider, and ask him to fetch it from wider, and he can only get the bottom of the bat.
We saw a good slow ball there. He tried to fiddle in the last over, which I was surprised by, with leg cutters. Now, we know Lungi from all the years, and that's where Mitchell gets caught quite often in his career, and it's obviously an area where he looks to carve it away, and his strength of his to go deep mid-wicket area. So probably hits about 15 out the ground first before he gets caught in that area, but it's a danger area anyway.
And it's also the time that he's batting, isn't it, as he tries to finish off innings.
Yeah, for sure. So Lungi was going with those leg cutters, and he'll be really happy that Bracewell's comes to the crease now, because his orthodox offie will be very effective to him. And now we're going to see him go with the wide offie rather than trying to go with the straight leg cutter, because that straight leg cutter was not working. He was just being peppered. And a lot of the approach also to Phillips hasn't been right. I mean, he's a stocky customer, very good square of the wicket, and they've kind of fed it in the last over where he's been able to play these short-arm jabs. There's got to be a rethink about what they're going to do if they're trying to get themselves back in here.
What he will do also, look for two here. If he gets a line to just push onto the onside, he'll challenge Brady.